What's up, guys? March 26, 2025. It's about 11:30 p.m. That means I am 30 minutes out from being 7 days entirely clean from kratom, which is crazy to think about because that is a pretty much a record breaker. Most of my quits have failed long before day 7. I think I've figured out a little bit of like what's going on with my acute withdrawals and the mysterious lack of like extreme severity. So I might have mentioned this in a previous video. I can't, it all blends together. Like that's one of the things you'll see is like, for those of you watching this that get through this and see the other side, and all of you can do it, by the way, watching this, whether you're in the throes of withdrawal right now or you're thinking about quitting, you can do it 100%. But one thing you'll notice when you come out the other side of all that pain and that grief, that very temporary pain, that very temporary grief, is that like a lot of it, I don't think, maybe it's just me, but like you're not going to remember a lot of it. The days blend together. They go simultaneously slow and simultaneously faster than you can ever imagine. Fucking 7 days, guys. That's crazy. 7 days. Anyway, as for why my acute withdrawals are like mysteriously less, like far less in severity than I anticipated. I took a look at my journal the other day, and I did this before, but I must have just like missed the extent of my effort in tapering and quitting. Like I said, I alluded to this in previous videos, but man, when I was going back through the years, I kept a journal from 2020 to the present, mostly detailing like my attempts at quitting kratom. That's pretty much all it revolves around. More recently, it also revolves around just like personal stuff, but being as like me trying to quit this stuff for so long, it's enveloped my entire life that basically there's nothing to journal about but my attempts to quit. Right. So anyway, I'm reviewing these logs. They're incomplete, but they're a pretty good representation of like where I was at that point in time. And guys, I didn't realize, I think I could summarize it like this. 2019, I quit 3 OPMS liquid extract kratom shots a day, cold turkey. And I quit stimulants at the same time. Now, the stimulants have come back into the picture since then, but I don't have a problem with those. That's a whole different story that I'm not concerned about. That is a way lesser evil. Like, I will one day be completely free of everything, but right now, the only thing I feel shackled down by is that green sludge, that green demon, and I hope you guys do enjoy me watching me beat its fucking face in. I'm obliterating that bitch, like I'm promising you. I'm not gonna stop. It's ruthless, it's violent, but it is happening, and nobody's going to stop me. Anyway, I was going back through the old journal, and I realized that, like, after I failed that 6-month cold turkey quit, like, quitting, that was hell at its peak. 3 OPMS shots a day, 14 grams each, while simultaneously quitting a stimulant that I had been on for years, was horrific. I remember just endless sleepless nights, endless lengthy days, constantly being in the bathroom, to the point, like taking showers, taking baths, to the point where like there was just constantly water vapor all over the place. Like it was horrific, right? It was horrific, but I did it. And I'll tell you what, on the other side of that, after 6 months, I felt better than I had before I even started kratom, actually. I think I mentioned that. And it didn't take 6 months to feel better. Guys, I was feeling better like way before that. It's just like 6 months in, I really felt everything coming back online, right? Even after that very intense, hellish experience, right? Now, here's the thing. After I failed that, COVID comes, right? That was like the trigger for my relapse. I said, oh shit, bioweapon attack, time to get high as shit, boy. Oh no, there's a bioweapon attack. Time to get some kratom. Just kidding. I'm being hyperbolic here. Pandemics suck nonetheless. I just made a bad decision. Turns out it's actually a lot harder to deal with like a existential doom and pandemics taking people out around you when you're on a substance that amplifies every single emotion, whether it be joy or just fear, anxiety, paranoia. It was a slow rolling nightmare those years. It was terrible. So 2020 was dedicated to like quitting again. Okay. I got weeks after that. So I relapsed after the first 6 months. you know, COVID comes, I relapse. Oh shit, it's coming. The Wuhan wiggles are gonna hit us. Ah shit, gotta get that sludge, baby. You know, and then a few weeks go by. I don't know the timing exactly. I'll show you guys the journal later, just to give you like a truly good idea here. So anyway, for a while I was sporadically trying to quit, and I still had the resolve to from that initial 6-month quit. So like there was a period of time where I was going like, you know, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days without it, and then I'd slip up. I know that I was reading just before, there was a period of time where like I was taking like 2 OPMS shots a week, right? After I relapsed when COVID came, right? And then of course, naturally, predictably, something happens where that just, of course, somehow creeps back to your highest dosage that you quit to begin with, and all progress is lost. 2021 continued that trend of constant quit attempts, nonstop. I'm looking at my journal, guys, looking back at those years, right? I'll say like 2 to 3 full years of just nonstop failed quit attempts, which also means nonstop withdrawals, interdose withdrawals, just an endless cycle of hell. And it's crazy reading back on it. But you know what I realized? By the time I got to 2023, everything stayed the same. Relapse, you know, 6-month cold turkey quit, feeling fucking on top of the world. Uh-oh, Wuhan wiggles coming, time to take another shot, because I don't yet have the mental resilience and the resolve to quit, and I don't think my urge to quit was fully there yet either. If it was, I wouldn't have gone back, right? So that happens, COVID happens, I relapse, but it's not so bad at first. It's a shot a week, and then 2 shots a week, and then before I know it, you know, I'm creeping deep and back up, and I'm like, shit, I gotta stop this. 2021 comes around, I get 2 days under my belt, 3 days under my belt, 4 days under my belt, relapse, a shot a day, 1 day again under my belt, 2 days, 3 days. That time I make it to 7 days, and then I relapse inevitably again. And that process repeats over and over and over and over until we get to 2023, where that was where it didn't just turn on me. It had started to turn on me already. That is the year that it destroyed me completely. No drive. Extreme fatigue to the very core and essence of my body, just an inability to do really anything or be a functional member of society. Like, for all I care, you know, I could have just rotted away as I watched the world go by. I equate it to like entering a time capsule. I'm going to talk more about that concept later, because it personally was one of the hardest things for me to get over in those early days, in those quit attempts. But it's highly personalized or individualized, right? Like, a lot of you may not get this sensation, and I have some theories. I think personally it has a lot to do with current life circumstances, okay? Like, you know, if you left the house, your home that you grew up in at like the age 18, you've seen the world, you've been living on your own for this entire time, you're self-sufficient, right? You might not experience like the time capsule feeling that I have, somebody that stayed in their hometown for their life, right? And just unfortunately got hooked on this shit before I was able to pull the trigger and use everything I saved up living at home, right? No bills, bills, but like nothing crazy, right? I don't have a mortgage, right? So I'm saving money, making bank. I'm taking kratom, but I'm not thinking it's going to destroy me. It fucking destroyed me. By 2023, I was done. I was a dead man walking. As far as I'm concerned, anybody that laid their eyes on me that year was seeing a ghost, right? Paranormal activity. I just was the walking dead. At that point, I wasn't sleeping well just due to the stress of having to quit, being fed up with life. The depression was just unfathomable, the deepest depths of depression. And then I started to get the weird symptoms, man, being scared to be around people, not wanting to be looked at by people, just great amount of like shame and all of that, right? Disappointed. Look how far I came just a few years ago, and now look where I am. What the fuck? So this is what I think explains why my acutes have been like so manageable this past week. Now, again, I'm ready for the sneak attacks, those sneaky Pete's with the machine guns around the corner. They might be waiting. They might be waiting to psychically terrorize me, maybe throw me into some fucking sweats, maybe have me suffering in a bathtub tomorrow, the next day, or maybe the day after that. Shit, maybe after I hit end on this video, they'll happen, right? But I think the reason they were so manageable this time, guys, and I hate to like misguide you, because I've been telling you I was like a cold turkey quit, because that's what it feels like, right? That's what it feels like. I didn't have any discipline tapering, so it doesn't feel like I was tapering. But upon reviewing the journal that I kept for all those years, and for those of you quitting, I suggest you do that, right? Especially if you've been like constantly in a cycle of like trying to quit and then failing. If you write, as hard as it is to write, like in your current condition, it's good in hindsight, because you might learn some things that like don't mean much to you in the present when you're typing it, but in retrospect, and with a few months or years of suffering between that time and now, you might look back on those entries and say, holy shit, like I see it so clearly now, right? So there's some things that you might learn about yourself. So I by rereading that. So anyway, by the time I got to 2024, 2023 was like my highest doses yet. The most amount of like 4 shots a day, fucking crazy. Like I said, was it the last video, or I shot a video last night. I didn't end up putting it out, but maybe it was a different one, but I made the joke that I was like, any day that I purchased 4 shots was a misery purchase. Like something really bad had to happen that day. And let me tell you, in 2023, there was a bunch of those days apparently. It was a fucking nightmare, guys, nightmare. I was in a bad life situation. The timing was just all wrong. I was working a great job, but it was overwhelming. And I was in the middle of a very intense nonstop cycle of like trying to quit while being back at those ultra high doses, 42 grams per day, 56 grams per day. You know, I'm not talking about powder. I'm not talking about like capsules. I'm talking about the liquid extracts, man. They're nasty shit. Nasty, nasty shit. Anyway, 2024 rolls around. I started to realize, I was rereading it, and my result, I was done. I think that was the first time where I truly felt done. That first true sensation of like, I am so over this. And I even typed that, I'm so fucking over this. And you know what's funny? In one of my entries from 2024, early 2024, because I was curious to see where I was at this time last year. This time last year, I made an entry promising to make Kratom my bitch. Apologies for the expletives. But coincidentally, that's the exact phrasing I used for my YouTube banner because I thought it'd be like attention grabbing and it's kind of funny, right? Like, let's make this horrible moment that we're all going through into something, I don't know, maybe a little bit less horrible through camaraderie, if that gave somebody a chuckle. Like, I don't think any of you have gone to like a Quitting Kratom YouTube channel and seen a banner that said, I'm going to make Kratom my literal bitch and kill it, my addiction to it, in front of you. All of you. It's going to be violent. It's going to be brutal. I'm going to do things to it that, oh God, I can't even think about. Yeah, so I just thought that was really funny. I was looking back last year. I was like, holy shit, I literally promised myself I was going to make Kratom my bitch. Apologies. And here I am nearly 1 year to the day, and I'm literally doing that. Like, I've got Kratom. I almost have a leash on it, like a leash on it. He's mine now, basically. So moving on, I realized that I dramatically reduced my dose like crazy. Like crazy. 2023 went from 42 grams, 56 grams per day, or anywhere in between there, sometimes going a little bit lower, but not that year, not that much at least. Then all of a sudden, 2024, guys, I made a decision. I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna promise myself that I'm just gonna work on doing less. I mentioned my like dribbling technique. That's very like personal to me, and especially personal. It's not gonna work for people with powder, right? Powder is kind of easy to measure out anyways, so that's good. But when you're only dealing with like this much liquid, it's very difficult to taper without having like a syringe. But my problem is if I use the syringe to pull the liquid out and taper, you know, just this little bit a day, and then this little bit a day, and then doesn't work for me, man, because I know you're taking that away from me. You're depriving me of my rightful high, you know, right? So the only way I'd be able to successfully do that is if I had a friend do it for me and not show me how much they took out, or if I did that myself. And that's where the dribbling out the liquid came from. Every morning I'd pick it up and be like, I'm just going to dribble a little bit up. And I'm not even going to look at like how much I dribble. I'm not going to look at how big the puddle on the floor is. I'm not going to look at how much is left in the bottle. I'm just going to throw it down and bang. And then eventually, like, I started getting into that habit, you know, like my muscle, it was like muscle memory. Every morning I'd pull like the exact amount out. It's never like precise, like I said, very small amount of liquid, but it was like the same amount each time. You know, it's rather thick, viscous liquid, so you can kind of do it by drops, you know. And one day I finally got the balls to check. I'm feeling so awful, you know, and I got the balls to check, like, how much am I like reducing? And guys, it was crazy. Like, I was taking like below half of these shots, and I was thinking that I was taking more than half, right? So already a dramatic reduction. And then the rest of the year is spent doing a mixture of 1 shot a day, 3/4 of a shot a day, and supplementing that with less powerful, less potent capsules, very cheap kratom capsules. Like I'm telling, like I like these $5 bags called like K-Chill capsules, $5 for 5 grams. They barely did anything, right? I did pick up at one point, like maybe twice, like a big bag of the OPMS powdered kratom capsules, the non-extract version, because I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to taper. As soon as I switch off of the liquid is what gets me. I don't like the feeling that much of the powder. The liquid packs a punch. You know, the other stuff, not so much after you do that, right? So I figure if only I can acclimate myself to these capsules, like, man, I'll be okay if I could just get there. If I could just get there. And this is where the interesting part comes in, guys, because remember how I said, like, when you're far enough out and time passes and you go through a lot of pain through all of that, you forget things, you forget these processes, which is a very vulnerable position, like I said, because when you forget, you're likely to go back, right? You're likely to trick yourself. It wasn't that bad, blah, 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 blah. But the issue is here, guys. I'm going to lose my train of thought because I just got eyed down by some dude that's like standing next to me. Hold on. What was I saying? Shit. Hold on. What the fuck was I saying? Okay, whatever. So yeah, like I'd buy a bottle, I'd dribble out half, talk about a waste of money, by the way. And then like I would just go with those big bags of capsules for like a full week, right? And just roll with those. And I was looking at it and slowly but surely it went from 42 grams a day with mostly the OPMS shots to plummeting to like 25 grams per day. And before I know it, 18 grams per day on average, right? Then 15, and then 14, then back up to 28 grams a day for like 3 days, then down to 15 grams, back up to 30 grams a day for 3 days, maybe a week, then all the way down to 10 grams a day of just the capsules. You see, so it's this constant back and forth where I had no bearing on whether I was doing good or doing bad, because every time I went back to the liquid was a failure in my opinion, because that was the demon. I didn't successfully acclimate myself to the powder or the capsules like I said I would. So I failed. I'm going to be back in the hell that I was pre-COVID, when I was dying in the bathtub, when I couldn't sleep for legitimately 2 weeks straight, when I would do anything to just, Jesus Christ, it was terrible. It was the most terrible thing I can imagine. So I was expecting that. I'm back on the liquid, man. I failed again. But then I kept reading. And as I was reading the descriptions of how I was feeling and the sensations I was feeling during that plummeting process, going from 42 grams per day, 56 in 2023 to 2024, where I suddenly go down to 28 grams per day, then maybe back up to like 35, but then all the way down to 15, right? I was reading what I was feeling. I said, you know what? This sounds a lot more similar to my first quit. Like, in other words, I was feeling more severe acute withdrawals during that whole very long process, that very long year-long process, than I am right now. It's almost like I just got them out of the way. I don't feel good right now. I feel anxious. I feel restless. Doing this, focusing, helps a lot. Temp regulation is still off. I stayed up all night last night, although that one's on me. I don't know if I would have fallen asleep anyway, because I did have like the RLS sensation, but I fucked up. I drank caffeine a little bit too late yesterday. Like, I was feeling decent, and I just wanted to roll with it. I just wanted to stay awake and like, I'm enjoying this. Fuck it. I'm probably not going to sleep anyway. So that one I brought on myself. But still, like, like, I'm not feeling good, but I'm feeling better. And after reading that, I can't imagine going back, because I can't go through a year of that again. I'm talking like what I was feeling when I took that jump from like 42 grams down to like 8 grams a day, right? Was basically a cold turkey quit, the symptoms that you would get from a cold turkey quit like I did the first time. Okay, so I don't know what to tell you. Like, I feel like this is a cold turkey thing. I feel naked without drinking it. Like, it's getting normaler, like more normal and more normal as the days go by. I don't have like cravings. I had that one craving, the divine financial intervention video. That was like day 2, I think. You can check that out. I'd be in a different place if that fucking bank didn't decline my card. I wouldn't even be here probably. I'd still be thinking, oh, I fucked up. I'm never going to get out of this. The withdrawals are going to be so bad. Guys, I was so wrong, and that held me back forever. That held me back forever, for years. You know? It ain't a cakewalk. And look, you know how I said, oh man, that first quit in 2019 pre-COVID at 3 shots a day, that was hell, the worst thing ever, whatever. But guess what? Not only did I get through it, it lasted a shorter duration than the hell, the pain, the torture of whatever I went through tapering in 2024. Tapering, aka going months at a low dose and then a month again at extremely high doses. And then what? I had no baseline. I wasn't like, okay, I'm removing just a little bit a day, and then by then I'll be here, and then by then I'll be... Wasn't like that. It was like, oh man, few days of doing great, man. I'm really in control. And then all of a sudden, it's like a demon overcomes me. The next morning I wake up and it's like, I need my sludge, boy. Where's my sludge? You know, and I start scheming. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Where's my revenue sources? Do I have anything from Substack? Should I write an essay? Maybe that'll give me the money to get me an OPMS shot. Ooh, but wait, if I do this, I can return this item back to the store and then add that with the change I have laying on the counter. And then we mix that together. I'll pull $3 out of my crypto wallet. I'll transfer Ethereum to USDC, and then we'll cash out $4. Who fucking does that? We'll add that to... What the fuck? What is your problem? Addiction, dependency, and a lack of self-discipline and a lack of like confidence in myself. I'm not like an insecure, not confident person, but that tells you, that convinces you that you are. So I wanted to clarify that, guys, because I don't want to like misguide you in any way, right? And make it seem like quitting cold turkey at a high dose is like super easy, right? As much as I'd like to tell you that, but I'm not a liar. And I think we all need to like be really honest with ourselves here, is that we're all in for a rough time. But look at me. My life has been awful these past few years. And I kept trying and I kept failing. And I thought I was failing. But I'll tell you what, it was worth it, because apparently it worked. Like, unless I get hit tomorrow or the next day with some serious shit, you know what I'm saying? Then... I don't know. And even if I do, man, I said it almost every video, I think I have the wherewithal now, 7 days out. Is it 7 days? Oh shit, what time is it? It's almost 7. Yeah, it's been like 20 minutes. I probably just hit the 7-day mark together with you right now. Like, I'd have the wherewithal to handle it. You know what I'm saying? I just wish I'd seen, you know, like after I would write each entry, after each failure, feeling like shit. Like, I just couldn't bring myself to reread it back. What's the point? I'm a fucking failure, right? Fuck. Had I only seen it in that moment, like realized in that moment that I was doing so much better than I felt physically, mentally, spiritually. The depression, the anhedonia was so much more intense. I was deeply depressed, deeply fatigued, no drive, no looking forward to anything, no joy, no nothing. And yet I realized all of that started to come back, faint little glimmers of it, as early as day 3 of this recent quit that you guys have been watching. So, I don't know. Right now, I'm leaning towards thinking that, like, that is responsible for the way I'm feeling right now in terms of, like, not wanting to die or something, you know, get struck by a fucking meteor, you know. Which is interesting because you guys might not identify with that. You guys might be taking 7.0 or 7.0H or whatever it's called at high doses. And like, or you might be taking, you know, fucking 7 OPMS shots a day and trying to quit cold turkey. And you're watching my videos and thinking like, why the fuck isn't this kid having seizures? Right? So I don't want to like, you know, misinform you. I was truly under the impression that this was more of like a cold turkey quit. Like, I knew I had like reduced, right? But surely I didn't reduce enough to make any tangible difference when I'm at fucking 42, 56 grams a day. Well, apparently it did make a difference, guys. Apparently it did make a difference. I feel like I'm seeing signs too. I'm not one of those dudes that like sees a fucking heads up penny and it's like, oh, that's my grandpa. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those type of people. But I had like, I probably shouldn't even bring this up because it's not, like, it's relevant, but it's not. And I don't know if you guys can relate to it, but like, I'm not like a super religious person, and I know that a lot of people in like addiction circles, recovery circles are, especially if they're doing the steps, right? God is very much like a focal point of all that. It's not that I don't believe in it. It's just that, like, for whatever reason, I don't have that same like enthusiastic drive to say, thank you, God, for giving me this. Thank you, God. I don't know how to explain it, man. I just don't identify it, but I'd much rather live in a world where that does exist. That love for God does exist, if that makes sense. And so I certainly don't want to attribute what I experienced to God or to, I don't know what it was, but weird things had been happening to me since I started this process, particularly last August, and then it happened again last night. And I know it's weird. I think I just need something to hang on to. Like, I know it's probably just coincidental, like it's maybe not that big of a deal, but sometimes in moments of stress and terror and fear and discomfort and pain like I'm in right now, you know, you need something to hang on to. Like, if you need to think that the fucking heads up penny on the ground is your pee-paw saying, hey, yo, what up, dude? Good luck, Quinn Kratom. Then do it. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm not going to stop you. You know what I mean? But last night I was standing outside walking my dog and I saw something come out of the sky. Wasn't an airplane. Wasn't a bird. I saw it. I saw it with my own eyes. But the weird thing is, like, it wasn't the first time I saw it. It was the second time. The first time I saw it was last August, after I failed yet again, and I took a late night, midnight walk, totally blitted out of my mind, high as shit off the stuff. And I'm not going to sleep. I feel terrible about myself. I need to go think and just wallow in my misery, right? I'm going to put my headphones on. I'm going for a walk. And finally, after a week long filled with rain, adding to the misery of my current situation at that time, I said, finally, we have the first clear night. Let's go take a walk. And I did. I'm looking down at my phone to change the song. And suddenly I see a flash, like a flash bulb. I'm not looking anywhere. I'm looking down. I see a flash. I'm like, what the fuck? I look up and these balls, there's 3 balls, they're in a triangle, and they come out of the sky down, like, on top of me. Like, not, like, close, like maybe 1,000 feet, 1,500 feet. It was scary as shit. Dude, this is coming from a guy that's loved UFOs for his entire life. I was resigned to never seeing one, if they actually do exist, and it's not just a gigantic psychological operation to usher in, well, anyway. I saw them, you know what I mean? And in that moment, I was in such misery. And then a flash, I look up, and these things appear, and they're flying, and it's like they're expanding when they come down, and they form a triangle, a perfect triangle, like a regular equilateral triangle. They started really close together, triangular, excuse me, as if they were far away, like a pinpoint, and coming down on me. So, like, the triangle got bigger, and it flew past me, and it performed the most brilliant display I've ever seen. It wasn't possible. It wasn't real. Like, it couldn't have been real. I've never had anything like that, guys. Have you experienced anything, like, out of the ordinary like that? And you might be thinking, like, why am I rambling about this shit? Well, like, when you're desperate, sometimes, like, you take things that are just coincidence as signs, right? And I'm not even really taking that as signs. But what I'm saying is that, like, in that moment, that incident did more for me than I think I initially thought, because I realized then and there that not only is there a whole world out there for me to experience and enjoy off of Kratom, just regular society, friends, family, fun social events, fun job, great job, fulfilling job, making that money, baby, finally making that cashola. But apparently there's something up there too, and I don't know what it is. And as a fan of, like, UFOs and, like, you know what I mean, I love that stuff. It actually scared me because it was so unreal and so powerful and so beyond anything I could ever see. And it sucks because it's like, I know you guys will listen to this. It's like, what the fuck is this dude talking about? I can't listen to this guy's videos now. Like, he seemed reasonable before. Now he's talking about fucking... I'm not lying to you, man. I'm not lying to you. I was left stunned, and it instilled in me a realization that if I stay on this shit, I am never going to be able to experience the basic aspects of the known world, let alone explore all of the fun, curious, intriguing mysteries that we still have yet to uncover. And that's what got to me, because that is my primary thing, right? Like I told you in the past, I do video editing, I make documentaries. It's that type of shit that I make videos about, right? And here I am, I just saw one. And I didn't even, it wasn't just like lights in the sky, like, what is that? I can't say, maybe it's a plane, maybe it's a satellite. No. No, this was an immediate recognition of something so far removed from anything that I've ever seen before, to the point that it was shocking. It was shocking. I felt like I had to duck to the ground. I thought it was going to like suck me up, dude. I don't fucking know. So it's like, yeah, it's all fun and games reading about the shit until it happens to you and you're like, oh my God. So then I'm like, how am I supposed to be equipped to deal with these things if I'm just like in this haze all day because of fucking kratom? I couldn't write about this sighting if I tried. I had no energy to formally report it to MUFON, to the experts that I have connections to. I didn't give a shit. I gave a shit. It blew my mind and it changed my life. Like, that is a defining moment of my life. I don't think I was about to say, I don't think I'll ever see anything like it again, but that's the issue. I just saw it again last night. Something. So I don't know, man. I don't know what that means. I'm not trying to say it's like, dude, the signs, fucking star signs, dude. What are you, a Virgo, dude? Are you a Cancer? No, dude. I'm just saying, like, ever since I finally turned a new leaf and started really trying hard for myself, like, weird shit has happened. This is incident number 3. And I don't know why it's happening now after 30 years of being interested in the subject. And yet the biggest juncture, the biggest fork in the road of my life appears, and all of a sudden, the most anomalous activity comes out of the woodwork, as if to say, look at me, look at me, look at me, because I'm looking at you. And if you quit the shit, maybe you'll be able to learn more about us. Whatever they are. I don't know. Part of me just felt like talking about it because it's fresh on my mind. I couldn't sleep. That's the other reason I couldn't sleep last night. I had the RLS, but I was just laying up all night wondering, like, what was that? Like, part of me hopes to God that it was us. And it's just like some advanced technology. Because if it isn't us, then I have to, well, we best start believing in God soon in that case, because I can't imagine those things have good intentions, as cynical as that is, right? Not being on the top of the food chain probably sucks balls, dude. Right? So I know that's such a strange, like, turn to make here, but I just want to share that because, one, it's fresh on my mind. Two, it kept me up all fucking night last night thinking of what a mind bender it was. It's reeling. It shook me to my core. I was confronted with the unknown for the first time in my entire life. Like, every documentary, every movie, everything that you see, that you've watched about the subject, like, I saw it with my own eyes, close, low enough to the ground where if it was a fucking Cessna airplane, a private aircraft, I could have read the tail number. I saw it. And it was in that moment that I said, I have to get my shit under control or I will never be able to appreciate everything that life has to offer. Prosaic in origin or anomalous. All right, guys. So day 7 coming in. Hot. I think I've hit day 7, 33 minutes long. This is a record. Longest video yet. I'm sitting in the sun. I think I'm sweating. I feel sweat all over me. Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm actually, like, starting to sweat. Actually, shit. After all these days saying I'm not, like, sweating. But I think it's because I'm baking in the windshield. The sun's right in front of me. I think that has a lot to do with it. Jittery, nervous. People are annoying. I don't live alone. I love the people that I do live with, but I just really have a hard time being around people that want to talk about stuff that I really don't care about now. Does that sound selfish? You're goddamn right it sounds selfish. And you know why? It's because if I'm not selfish right now, I will not get out of this alive. I'm sorry. I will listen to your story about your bad work day. But goddamn if it isn't hard when I'm just trying to put my headphones on and read a book and do anything I can to ensure that I don't succumb to this, because at any moment I can relapse. At any moment, no matter how strong I feel. And, I have all these external factors around me, the inability to go anywhere, lack of gas, the fact that I don't live alone, so I can't, weird out by myself. I can't just, lay on the floor and go, fuck this. I can't just sleep in the bathtub, right? Because there's people that need to use it too. I can't do all these things that sometimes, you just want to weird out because you feel bad, and I can't do that. I can't go anywhere. I'm locked down. And that is the exact opposite of what you need when you're quitting a heavy drug, like kratom, right? At least if you're at high doses. So now the tricky part for me is, how does one beat addiction in the same environment that got them sick? Well, I don't know. I don't have an answer quite yet, but apparently I'm doing it. So peace out.